Alright, so I want to tell you guys a story. Yesterday, I was working and I was going through occupied apartments, and I knocked on this one door a couple times and didn't have an answer, but I heard a crash inside. A lot of these people have like cats and dogs in their houses and stuff, and so I didn't think a whole lot about it. And knocked a couple more times, and then still no answer at the door. And so I went ahead and unlocked the door and started to open it. And when I did, the door ran into something. So I looked around the door, and there was a little lady laying on the floor right in front of the door. So I opened the door just enough that I could get inside, and I was like, I asked her if she needed help. She didn't speak any English, and she only spoke Spanish, and I don't speak Spanish. I speak a little bit, not a whole lot. I have a translator on my phone, so I pulled my phone out and got my translator open and stuff, and asked her if she needed help, and she said yeah, she needed help, and her chin was bleeding and stuff. And so I got on the phone, I called 911 and started talking with them. I let them know where I was at, which apartment it was, and everything. And then had them start talking with her, and they got a translator on the phone so that they could talk with her and kind of figure out what was going on and stuff. And so then through the course of that, she had said that there was some that, and that I found out she was an 89-year-old lady, and she lived alone in this apartment. So there was nobody else in there with her at all. And during this time, while she was talking to the dispatcher, the paramedics showed up and stuff. I found out she had heart issues and stuff like that. So this wasn't like an uncommon thing. I'm guessing what happened is when I knocked on the door, that she stood up to come answer the door, and there was something that messed up with her heart rhythm, because they did check her heart rhythm, and there was something that was off with that. So I'm guessing that something messed up with her blood pressure, heart rhythm, something like that, and she kind of like passed out, and fell and hit her chin on the counter, the floor, something, I'm not sure. And then was able to just drag herself about 10 feet to where she was over by the door. So that then when I opened the door was right. She was right inside the door. She didn't end up getting transported. She refused to be transported. But she seemed like she was fairly coherent and everything by the time the paramedics left. I stayed in there the whole time, and just kind of hung out, and then I did whatever the work it was that I needed to do in the unit. That was why I was going in there. So why do I say this? Because you never know when you're going to come across someone who has a medical emergency. I talk about seizures and epilepsy on my page, and which is a somewhat specific thing. However, it's good to be educated on these things, because you never know when something's going to happen that you can be there and be prepared for. Although this was not a case of someone having a seizure, to my knowledge, it was not a case of someone having a seizure. I was able to handle this situation calmly, without freaking out, anything like that. Was able to get the help there that I needed to, and just work through this situation in a calm manner. And it wasn't a high stress situation or anything like that. It was someone that was in her own house, had fallen, was not badly injured, and so there was nothing that was like life threatening that was happening at the time. It was not a very high stress situation. But I do talk about seizures and epilepsy and how to respond to these situations on my channel, so that people who you may come across, because you never know when you're going to come across someone who has this. You may say, well, this doesn't apply to me because I don't have seizures. No one in my family has seizures, so it doesn't apply to me. Well, this was someone that I didn't know, someone who I happened to come across while I was at work, and was having a medical emergency of some sorts. There was something that was going on that was not supposed to be happening at that time. And so you never know when something like this is going to happen. And so to be prepared in this situation is always the best option. So that's why I do what I do, is to help people be better prepared.